For years, Bea Alonzo has convinced millions of fans that she's just a simple provincial girl at heart. Her vlogs show her trading the red carpet for rubber boots, laughing in the mud, and picking fruit under the hot sun. But if you look past the rustic charm, you'll find that her massive Zambales estate is actually a highly fortified 16-hectare empire. Complete with a commercial orchard, full-time staff, and a luxury family compound, it rivals the most exclusive five-star resorts. Is Bea really just enjoying a humble, back-to-basics farm life? Or has she quietly built a private kingdom completely hidden from the cameras? Let's find out. The woman behind the farm. Everyone who follows Bea Alonzo knows the farm exists, but most people do not fully understand who is actually there every single day making it work. That person is her mother, Anne Ranollo, who fans and followers have come to know simply as Mommy Mary or Madame M. While Bea is in Manila taping 16 hours a day, doing endorsements, and handling every other corner of a career that has generated over 3 billion pesos in box office alone, it is Anne who wakes up every morning on that 16-hectare property in Iba, Zambales, and keeps the whole thing running. This was actually the original goal. When Bea first started thinking seriously about buying land, one of the clearest intentions she had was to give her mother a place of peace. A place where Anne could grow things, be away from the noise of the city, and have something that was hers to take care of. What neither of them fully anticipated was how seriously Anne would take that responsibility, or how far she would push the project beyond what anyone originally imagined. When Bea first bought the land in 2011 through actress Isabel Rivas, who introduced her to the property and also owns a nearby farm called Paradise Farm, there was nothing on it but grass and a single tree. Bea has admitted publicly that she was hesitant about the whole idea at first. A farm demands constant manpower and time, and she is someone whose schedule rarely allows for either. But her mother was the one who saw the potential in that raw land and pushed for it. Anne was the one who had always been interested in farming within the family. So the arrangement that developed naturally was this. Bea provides the financial resources and the vision. Anne provides the presence, the decision-making, and the daily labor of turning that vision into a physical reality. It is a genuine partnership, even if the world mostly sees only Bea's name on it. And what Anne has built over more than a decade is remarkable by any standard. The farm today is named Beati Firma, a Latin phrase meaning blessed farm. That name is not just branding. It reflects something Anne genuinely believes about the land and what it represents for their family. She has said publicly that the blessings felt so real and so constant that she needed a place to come and be grateful for them. A place that was not a public stage or a film set or a press event, but somewhere permanent and grounded and theirs. The farm is not Bea's escape from her career. It is her mother's life's work. And understanding that changes everything about how you see what has been built there. Because the details of what Anne has actually added since the beginning are more impressive than most people realize. How Beati Firma has grown over the years. The first tour that most people saw of Beati Firma was posted in March 2021. At that point, the farm already looked impressive, with mahogany trees, mango trees, calamansi, farm animals, and the beginnings of the family compound. But the version that exists today is significantly larger and more developed, and every major change since then has been driven by Anne. One of the most visible additions is the walking and running trail. Anne oversaw the construction of a brick-paved path that connects the main house to the other buildings across the property, including the chapel that sits beside it. The path was built with custom bricks and winds through the trees in a way that makes the property feel more like a resort than a working farm. But it is a working farm first, and that trail exists for function as much as beauty, because on 16 hectares you need to be able to move between areas without losing time. The chapel is one of the most personal things on the entire property, and it belongs to Anne more than to anyone else. She designed it herself using ideas she found on Pinterest, working through the Catholic traditions and construction rules that govern how a chapel is properly built. The chapel stands on the exact location of a small hut that used to serve as Anne's home during the early stages of the farm's development. Back when there were no proper houses yet, that hut was where she lived while she was overseeing the first phase of construction. She said the chapel is one of the best projects she ever started. It is not just for the family. The workers on the farm use it too. Since the pandemic, attending church off the property became difficult, and having a chapel inside the gates means that the spiritual life of everyone who lives and works there does not stop just because they are far from the city. Mary Ann said she is grateful for the blessings, and that there needed to be a place to express that gratitude. The chapel is that place. Beyond the chapel, the farm has added a full gymnasium, an above-ground pool with a wooden surround and shade structure, several guest houses and villas for visitors, and a newly built pig pen alongside the existing cattle and livestock areas. The outdoor kitchen has been updated and expanded. Horses have been added to the animals already on the property. The fish pond has been developed further, and the mango orchard, which Mary Ann has been managing and expanding since the beginning, has grown considerably. At the center of the main compound is Casa de Bea, the primary residence built in a modern barn style with industrial materials, warm Filipino wood, and huge windows that frame the Zambales mountain range. It is where Bea stays when she comes down from Manila. But it sits inside a compound that Mary Ann has shaped and expanded year after year, surrounding it with everything else the property has become. Every single one of those additions was planned by Mary Ann, the woman who fans see briefly in vlogs, standing next to her daughter and smiling at the camera, is the architect of all of it. The mango orchard that Mary Ann built. The commercial heart of Beati Firma is the mango orchard, and it is Mary Ann's project in the most direct sense. When the farm was first being planned, Bea has said that it was her mother who identified mangoes as the right primary crop for that land. Not because mangoes are the easiest thing to grow, but because Mary Ann understood the soil, the elevation, the climate of that part of Zambales, and what it was suited for. The variety she chose was the sweet Elena, a mango cultivar famous across the Philippines for producing some of the sweetest fruit in the country. The orchard now has over 1,200 trees. Managing that many trees is not a simple operation. It requires monitoring for pests, timing harvests correctly, coordinating the workers who sort and pack the fruit, and maintaining the irrigation system that keeps the trees healthy through the dry months. Mary Ann oversees all of it. The mango operation is commercial, which means it generates actual revenue and is not just for family consumption. When the harvest comes, it is not a casual family day picking fruit. It is a coordinated production with workers, sorting tables, and packing for distribution. The sweet Elena brand that Beati Firma produces is sold, and the income from that harvest contributes to the cost of running the property overall. This is important because a 16-hectare farm with multiple structures, permanent staff, animals, irrigation, and ongoing construction is expensive to maintain. Bea has said directly that a farm like this cannot survive on goodwill alone. You have to have businesses within the farm, trees that bear fruit you can sell, animals that produce income, revenue streams that offset the cost of everything else. Mary Ann built the mango orchard as exactly that, a business within the farm that helps pay for the farm itself. Alongside the mangoes, Beati Firma also grows mahogany trees, calamansi, and various vegetables. The mahogany trees in particular represent a long-term investment because mahogany timber becomes more valuable the longer the trees grow. Planting them was a decision about what the farm would be worth in 20 years, not just right now. That kind of thinking is characteristic of how Mary Ann approaches the property overall. Everything she builds or plants is designed to keep growing in value long after the work of planting it is done. What makes Mary Ann's agricultural decisions particularly impressive is that she came to all of this without a formal farming background. She learned on the job, consulting agricultural experts, observing what worked and what did not across different seasons, and adjusting her approach based on actual results from the Zambales soil and climate. Over 14 years, that accumulated knowledge has made her genuinely expert in the specific conditions of that land. She knows which crops thrive in that elevation, which pests are most common during which months, and how to get the best yield from the orchard without overworking the soil. That kind of site-specific knowledge cannot be bought or hired. It can only be built by someone who is there every single day paying attention. Living on the farm, Mary Ann's world inside the gates. Most people who own farms in the Philippines visit on weekends. Mary Ann lives there. She is not a weekend farmer. She is a permanent resident of Beati Firma, and that residency is part of why the farm has been able to grow as quickly and consistently as it has. The property has its own dedicated house for her, which is one of the several structures on the land, and it is from that house that she manages the daily operations. The arrangement works partly because of the design of the compound. Bea has built the property so that her mother has her own space rather than sharing the main house. When Bea comes down from Manila, she has her own area. The staff have their own quarters. Guests have the villas. And Marianne has the home that was built specifically for her, in the place where the original hut used to be, beside the chapel she designed. Each person on the property has their own territory, which is how you make communal living work without everyone getting in each other's way. Marianne's daily routine on the farm involves overseeing the workers, checking on the animals, monitoring the orchard, and coordinating whatever construction or development project is currently underway. She and Bea have posted multiple vlogs together showing the farm updates, and what those videos reveal more clearly than anything else is that Marianne is not a passenger in this project. She is the one giving the tour. She is the one explaining what was changed and why. She is the one who knows where everything is and what everything cost. One detail that comes through in those videos is how much pride Marianne takes in the sustainable practices they have developed. The farm uses organic methods wherever possible. Waste from the cattle is composted and used as natural fertilizer for the orchard and vegetable beds. This reduces the cost of chemical inputs and keeps the soil healthier over time. Rainwater is collected and stored for use during the dry season. The approach reflects the way Marianne thinks about the land, not as something to extract from, but as something to build a relationship with. There is something else worth noting about the way Marianne runs the farm that does not always come through in the vlogs. She treats the workers not as hired help but as part of the household. The staff who live on the property are there year-round, and Marianne knows their situations, their families, their needs. When Bea has talked about the human side of running Beati Firma, she consistently points to her mother as the reason the staff relationships work as well as they do. Marianne is the constant presence who remembers birthdays, checks in when someone is unwell, and makes sure the people who keep the farm running feel connected to what they are building. That quality of care is not something you can outsource or automate. She has turned what was a single tree on raw Zambales dirt into one of the most talked about celebrity farms in the country. And she did it by being there every day, not just for photo opportunities. The technology and the cost of running it all. Beati Firma looks like a peaceful retreat in the vlogs, and in some ways it is. But the mogul mindset behind it is anything but casual. Bea has spoken publicly about the need for a farm like this to function as a self-sufficient, closed-loop system where the cost of running it is offset by what it produces. That philosophy runs through every infrastructure decision that has been made on the property since 2011. The farm runs on solar power. Solar panels cover significant portions of the rooftop and open land areas of the property, generating enough electricity to run the houses, the cold storage for agricultural products, the irrigation pumps, the gym, the outdoor lighting, and the security systems. In a province where power outages are common, having a solar system with battery backup means the farm continues operating regardless of what the grid is doing. That independence is not just a convenience on a working farm, it is a necessity. Water is managed through a combination of deep wells and rainwater harvesting systems. The drip irrigation for the mango orchard and the vegetable beds is connected to sensors that measure soil moisture and release water only when and where it is needed. This kind of precision irrigation is more expensive to set up initially, but significantly reduces water waste over time, which matters both for the cost of running the water systems and for the long-term health of the soil. The fish pond adds another dimension to the operation. Tilapia are raised there, contributing food for the family and staff, as well as a potential commercial product. The pigs, cows, ducks, and horses all require dedicated feeding routines, veterinary attention, and the right facilities. The pig pen that was added in one of the recent update vlogs is a proper structure, not a makeshift enclosure, because Marianne understands that animals raised in poor conditions produce poor results. Running all of this requires a permanent team of workers who live on the property. They are not seasonal laborers who come in for harvest and leave. They are year-round employees with housing on the farm grounds, consistent wages, and work that spans the full range of what the property needs, from farming to construction to maintenance to animal care. That kind of staff stability is expensive, but it is also what makes the farm function at the level it does, rather than sitting idle between Bea's visits. The cost of maintaining Beati Firma is real, and it is ongoing. The solar system, the irrigation, the staff, the animals, the constant construction and development. Bea has said that a farm has to have income streams within it to survive. This is what Marianne has been building, one revenue source at a time, since 2011. The Madrid investment and what it means for the farm. Beati Firma is Bea Alonzo's most visible investment, but it is not her only one. In 2022, she made a move that most of the public underestimated when it was announced. She bought a luxury apartment in Madrid, Spain for more than 500,000 euros, which translates to approximately 30 million pesos at the time of purchase. The apartment is located in the Chamberí neighborhood, one of the most historically significant and desirable areas of the Spanish capital. But the property was not purchased purely for lifestyle reasons. The investment qualified Bea for Spain's Golden Visa program, which grants residency rights in the European Union to non-EU nationals who invest above a certain threshold in Spanish real estate. A Golden Visa gives the holder the right to live, work, and move freely across 27 European Union countries. For Bea, her mother, and her younger brother, it represents a level of international security that no amount of local real estate can provide. The significance of that for the family is difficult to overstate. It means her mother, who has given years of her life to building Beati Firma, has access to European residency and everything that comes with it if she ever needs or wants it. It means Bea's younger brother has the option of studying or building a career anywhere in the EU. The farm in Zambales anchors the family to the Philippines. The apartment in Madrid opens the entire continent of Europe to them. This is the kind of long-term, multi-asset thinking that distinguishes someone who is genuinely building generational wealth from someone who is simply spending their income on nice things. The farm produces. The Madrid property appreciates and generates residency rights. The Bash lifestyle brand and the Dean and DeLuca franchise add business income on top of the acting fees. Every piece of it is connected to the same underlying strategy. Build things that keep producing value even when you are not actively working on them. This is worth pausing on because it is genuinely unusual at any level of wealth. Most people who make significant money spend it on things that feel rewarding in the moment but do not generate returns over time. Bea has done the opposite at every turn. The farm produces food and income. The Madrid apartment generates residency rights and appreciates in a stable European property market. The Bash lifestyle brand and the Dean and DeLuca franchise add business income. None of these are passive decisions. Each one was made deliberately, with a clear understanding of what it would produce and why it mattered for the family's long-term position. That discipline at 37 years old, with no financial advisor making the decisions for her, is what separates someone building generational wealth from someone simply earning well. Marianne runs the farm that anchors the family to the land. Bea funds the investments that expand the family's options beyond the land. Together, the two of them have built something that most families never figure out how to build across generations. What Beati Firma looks like in 2025. As of 2025, Beati Firma is in its 14th year of continuous development, and it shows no sign of stopping. Marianne is still on the property, still adding projects, still expanding what is possible on 16 hectares of Zambales land. Bea is still posting farm update vlogs on her YouTube channel, still showing the latest additions, still bringing her audience along to watch the evolution of something that began with a single tree and a mother's conviction that the land was worth developing. The property now includes the main Texas-inspired cabin house with panoramic views of the Zambales mountain range, the mother's dedicated house, the chapel Marianne designed, the gymnasium, the fish pond, the mango orchard with over 1,200 trees, mahogany groves, vegetable beds, a basketball court, a treehouse, multiple guest villas with wood and racked trees or rattan furniture, an outdoor kitchen, and the full animal compound with cattle, horses, pigs, ducks, and sheep. The farm is described consistently across media coverage as one of the most impressive celebrity-owned properties in the Philippines. Beyond the physical property, Beati Firma has become a kind of identity for both Bea and Mary Ann. It is where the family gathers for Holy Week and other significant occasions. It is where Bea goes when she needs to step away from the noise of the industry and be reminded of what matters. It is where Mary Ann has poured the kind of sustained attention and care that most people reserve for raising children, because in a sense that is exactly what she has been doing. She has been raising this land from nothing, watching it grow into something that produces food, generates income, and shelters the people she loves. The economic impact extends beyond the family as well. Dozens of local workers from the Iba area are employed at Beati Firma on a consistent basis. They live in housing built on the property, receive steady wages, and work on a farm that buys its supplies from local businesses and markets its agricultural products through local channels. When you employ that many people in a province where steady agricultural work is not always available, you are not just running a farm. You are functioning as a small but significant piece of the local economy. Bea Alonzo is the name on the gate. But the farm that name belongs to was built by her mother, day by day, decision by decision, over 14 years of consistent work in the mountains of Zambales. That is the story most people never stopped to look for. And now you have the full picture. So tell us what you think in the comments down below. After everything you have seen, who do you think deserves the most credit for what Beati Firma has become? Bea for buying the land and funding the vision, or her mother Mary Ann for being the one who actually built it? We would love to hear your answer. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to Her Status for more. See you in our next video. Bye.